What is something you have always regretted doing? Spending 13 years on drugs. That was pretty shitty. 3 years clean now though. Turning your life around after 13 long years of hard drug abuse is most impressive. Hats off to you. Dental hygiene. Had braces as a teen and neglected my teeth for the 20 years after except for yearly cleanings. Too many Mountain Dews and too many days of I'll just brush my teeth tomorrow turned into cavities and peeling enamel. You don't appreciate teeth not hurting until they are. Friend at school told me if I cut all my eyelashes off they would grow longer. They did not. Not listening to my doctor's warnings and not taking care of my diabetes from 15-25. Since March last year I have had an OP to restore vision in my right eye, an OP to do the same in my left, an OP to reattach the retina in my left eye and currently waiting to have another in my right eye to restore vision and an OP to remove the silicone oil that is currently holding the retina in my left eye in place. Was completely blind for 2 months and only now have a small amount of vision in my right eye. The left eye has just enough vision for me to walk around without hurting myself until the oil comes out. Listen to your doctors, kids. Wasting my time on toxic friendships. Never again. I also regret not ending my first relationship when I first wanted to after year 1 instead of year 8. When I was in 8th grade, I saw my 6th grade brother walking down the hallway towards me and body slammed him as hard as I could into the wall. He limped away, ducked into an empty classroom, and started crying. I wasn't a violent kid and was generally a pretty good big brother. Immediately afterwards I just felt so ducking bad and had no idea why I did it. We are really close now, and I still apologize for it 15 plus years later. It honestly ducking haunts me that I did something so unnecessary and cruel to my own brother. Taking out loans to go to a traditional 4-year university. If I knew then what I know now I would have just worked my way through community college, and there's a good chance I'd be exactly in the same spot as I'm now regarding my career. The biggest difference would be that I wouldn't be in debt till I die. Staying up late like right now, and bullshitting myself that tomorrow I will sleep early, like I said yesterday. I know this is a relatively small thing, but when I was around 10, and I was on public transport with my dad one time, he said he'd like to read to me, like the little shit I was at the time. Not only did I focus on playing Lego Batman on my DS as he was reading to me, but I actually told him I was going to do that. The audacity. I've always been lucky that he was, and still is, the kind of guy who doesn't take that kind of stuff personally, and was totally fine with this arrangement. But I just wish I gave his gesture anywhere near the respect it deserved. I rarely even looked at him as he read. Not protecting my hearing. I'm 52 and have had tinnitus for 20 years now. I should worn earplugs when mowing the grass, going to concerts or loud movies. I shouldn't have turned my Walkman up to 11. Had a lump on my neck that ignored for a year. Ended up being stage 4 cancer. 13 years later, and 4 times battle. I'm still fighting. Edit. I love you all for the immense love you have showed for this stranger. I promise you that I'm okay and undergoing a immunotherapy that is easy as silk. I've been through heck, but I'm here, strong and defiant, thanks to love from strangers like you. When someone reaches out to you as a friend and you shut them down to avoid intimacy. Not doing internships in the summers during law school. Instead, I went straight through and graduated in 27 months. It was a mistake that limited my ability to get a job after graduation. When my parents split up, my mom had to raise us by herself, and we were really poor. Eventually we had to get on food stamps to survive. My mom was devastated. She was a very proud woman and was working 2 jobs, but it wasn't enough and it absolutely crushed her to have to get assistance. It made her feel like a failure who couldn't take care of her own kids. I remember we were in the grocery store and getting ready to pay. She was going to use food stamps to pay, and she was so ashamed that she turned to me and said if you don't want to stand in line with me, you don't have to. She was trying to spare me the embarrassment. So I didn't stand with her. I went off and looked at a toy or something. I remember looking back at her. She was sheepishly fixing her hair and trying not to look poor as she worked up the courage to face the cashier. I have regretted walking away so many times over the years. I was just a kid, but I wish I could go back in time to go stand next to her and tell her how proud I'm to be her son and how thankful I was for the sacrifices she made just to keep food on the table for us. It honestly breaks my heart every time I think about it. Sharing health issues or personal issues with workmates. Quit a college program for a girl. Just stopped showing. It wrecked my grades and took forever to be complete my degree after. One afternoon I got mad at my mother. She had been prescribed an excess amount of narcotics, 90 days worth. For an addict like her, she'd finish that in maybe 2 days. I picked the prescription up and withheld it. Her doctor told me I was breaking the law. Even though she was a known addict, I gave it back to her and refused to hang out that night. I'd go every night to sit with her and talk so she'd be doing something other than drugs or having shitty people over. But I was pissed off. Next morning I was off. Nothing felt right. My grandmother and I stopped by to check on her. She was dead on the kitchen floor. Her friends came over and they started doing drugs. Heroin kits everywhere. Weed all over the table. And that damn bottle of pills. Her neighbor said at 2 a.m. a bunch of people hightailed it out of there. She had odd, and they didn't help her. They just ran. Why the duck didn't I just go over there that night? Still bothers me even though I know I could never stop her from being addicted. As a college senior, I was an advisor to this suite of freshmen. 3 of them played these stupid pranks on 2 of them for the entire school year. It started as jokes, but it ended up just being harassment. Both of the harassed students transferred the next year. I tried to reason with the 3 pranksters harassers, but now, I regret not confronting them instead of trying to reason with them. At some point, if people are intentionally causing suffering, a harsh response is the correct response. I was just a dumb college 4th year, but I wish I had had the insight to do more. 1. Not purchasing a home I wanted when it was less expensive. 2. Getting married. 3. My career choice. Basically, almost all the important decisions one makes in life. I regret not doing a fuller investigation of career options before going to college or making the effort it would have taken to change course mid-career. I just retired from a career that was satisfying, but probably not my best match. Marrying the wrong person. Be sure you really know who you are marrying. The family, the friends, the acquaintances. When they're angry, sad, happy, how they spend money, how they save money. Because you could end up like me, 31 years unhappily married. And we have a special needs daughter who needs us together in the same house for reasons I can't go into here. So I'm locked in. And so is she. Learn from my mistake. I'm locked into a marriage where I'm miserable. 23 years. It's awful. I'm sorry to hear anyone else in the same situation. I regret and don't regret this one. I was 13 at a theme park with my class. It was the last day of school, so we went to a big park to ride some rides. For no particular reason other than thinking I was funny, I kept telling kids in my class don't die as they would climb onto a roller coaster. Some kids looked scared. Some laughed. Finally, a 20-something guy with his girlfriend also in line turned to me and shouted, "Kid, shut the duck up." His girlfriend quickly tried to calm him down and said he's just a kid. Boy did he look pissed. For me, it was like I had been slapped out of a trance. I thought, holy shit, I'm annoying. Best thing to ever happen to me, I think. But damn do I cringe when I think about it. Not spending enough time with my grandma. She died young at 60 from alcoholism. Not spending a lot of time with my dad. He died when I was 18 and before that I was too cool to hang out with him much. I regret it so much now. He technically died from kidney failure after 20 plus years with a heart transplant. I ended up needing a heart transplant 2 years after he died and had no one. that could relate to what I was going through, because he was gone. And I never talked much about his transplant with him. He also never even came to my high school graduation cause he was working, so he never really got to see me accomplish anything in life. I was just a stupid teen that was too cool to hang out with my dad. Even though we did so much together when I was a kid, I miss him every day. Please spend time with your parents and loved ones, you never know how long they'll be there. I'll go to conferences or collections of study sessions or something, and I'll be like, I'm going to go to X. Then, when X comes along, someone will ask me, so, you coming to X? And I'll be like, sorry, but I'm busy, when I'm probably doing nothing. I always regret it. They're always really interesting sessions with people I would have wanted to meet and learn from. And what did I accomplish from not going? Nothing. When I was 10 and my sister was 7, I wanted to go play in the snow and none of my friends were out, so I invited her to play with me. She was super excited, but it was going to take her a while to get her snow clothes on, and I was already dressed, so I said I'd wait for her out front. While waiting, a friend came by and invited to play, and I went not even thinking twice about my little sister. I came home an hour or two later to find out that she went outside and looked for me for a while and came in broken hearted because I wasn't there. I'm in my late 40s now, and while she's never once brought this up, I think about it often and cringe and get pretty down about it. What a shit thing to do. I cannot imagine ever forgiving myself for it. There was a girl in my high school who sent her boyfriend a picture of her bare breasts. He immediately sent it to all his friends. They sent it to this. Even teacher saw it. People started calling her pepperoni nipples. And I once heard my drama teacher and his assistant singing the Oscar Mayer song reworded to be about her. She was a very popular girl up to date. I learned this point. A cheerleader who ran with the rich kids. And I was the kind of teenager who assumed I was an outcast. I wasn't, and that everyone was out to get me. They weren't. Shortly after the nude pic event, one of our classes reassigned seating, and she and I were sat next to each other. She was so kind to me, friendly, even gave me a nickname, and she told me she went to a college party in the city and saw her picture printed and hung on the fridge at this party. She burst into tears and left while I never made fun of her to her face. I absolutely joined in ridiculing that girl. I just wanted to be a part of the joke. I wanted to feel like I was part of the crowd. But all I succeeded in doing was perpetuating the harm done to her. A literal child who was being shamed and ogled by both her classmates and actual adults. We are friends on Facebook now, a good 13 years later, and she seems happy. But I still think about her and feel guilty. I hope she has a lovely life, and I hope that this kind of shit never happens to anyone else. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe,